California, late 1960s. A killer stalks the state, leaving a trail of terror, but not just for the thrill of the kill. This killer craves something more, the spotlight. They call himself Zodiac, a name that emblazons fear across newspapers and whispers on frightened streets. Zodiac plays a twisted game with the authorities, a game of cat and mouse. Zodiac doesn't just kill, they brag about it. Detailed letters arrive at police stations and newsrooms, filled with chilling descriptions of the crimes, details only the real killer would know. These letters aren't just confessions, they're taunts, laced with riddles and codes, a challenge for the police to crack. The hunt for Zodiac becomes a desperate race. Police chase hundreds of leads, sifting through mountains of information. Every tip, every suspect, is a glimmer of hope in the darkness. But Zodiac remains a phantom, a ghost slipping through their grasp. Frustration mounts, the lack of a clear suspect, the taunting messages, it all fuels the public's fear. Zodiac thrives on the attention, the city gripped by terror. Even the most advanced technology of the time, DNA analysis, yields nothing but dead ends. Zodiac claims a staggering number of victims, boasting of a body count that chills the blood. But investigators sifting through evidence can only confirm a handful of murders. The true number may forever remain a horrifying mystery. In the end, Zodiac wins the twisted game they started. Their identity remains a chilling secret, a puzzle with missing pieces. The only constant reminder, the chilling symbol of the Zodiac, a haunting mark on a city forever scared. Ted Bundy. A name synonymous with terror. But unlike many serial killers, Bundy wasn't a monster lurking in the shadows. He was a changeling, charming and charismatic. This facade of niceness was his weapon, a way to disarm his victims. For nearly 4 years, Bundy committed a horrific string of murders, over 30 by his own admission. He targeted young women and girls, preying on their trust. His tactics were chilling. He'd pose as someone they could trust, like an injured person needing help. This act of vulnerability made him seem harmless, the perfect opportunity to lure them close. But behind the facade lurked a monster. Bundy's crimes were gruesome, often revisiting the scenes to fulfill his dark desires. Even more disturbing, he kept trophies of his victims, severed heads, a chilling reminder of his deeds. Despite his monstrous acts, Bundy blended in perfectly. He dated, held jobs, and appeared completely normal. The perfect disguise for a mass murderer. His reign of terror finally ended in Florida. Representing himself at trial, Bundy tried to spin a story of innocence, blaming pornography and a troubled childhood. But the evidence spoke for itself. Bundy was found guilty, sentenced to death, and stripped of his mask. Ted Bundy, a monster in disguise, a chilling reminder that evil can hide behind the most charming smile. The killer clone, John Wayne Gacy. By day, a friendly clown named Pogo, entertaining children at parties and community events. But beneath the grease paint and oversized shoes lurked a monster. From 1972 to 1978, in a quiet Illinois town, Gacy committed a series of horrific crimes. He lured at least 33 young men to his home, promising them jobs. Once inside, the nightmare began. Gacy would overpower his victims before strangling or suffocating them. The horror wasn't confined to the killings. Gacy kept meticulous records, journals filled with chilling details. He even kept mementos, trophies from his twisted games. In 1978, the House of Secrets came crashing down. A routine investigation led to the discovery of human remains buried beneath Gacy's home. The number of victims grew with each gruesome shovelful of dirt. The investigation revealed a shocking truth. Gacy reveled in his crimes. The killings brought him a twisted sense of pleasure. In 1980, justice, though delayed, was served. Gacy was found guilty of 33 murders and sentenced to death. Even facing his own execution, his final words dripped with defiance and hate. John Wayne Gacy, the seemingly harmless clown, became a symbol of pure evil. His crimes remain a chilling reminder that darkness can hide behind the most unexpected masks. Charles Manson. In the late 1960s, a charismatic figure named Charles Manson emerged. He wasn't your typical killer. He was a manipulator, a cult leader who built a devoted following known as the Manson family. Manson's charm and twisted ideology attracted young women, particularly susceptible to his dark vision. He preached a race war he called Helter Skelter, a plan to ignite chaos by committing murders and framing black gangs. In 1969, Manson's twisted vision became a horrific reality. Under his orders, Manson family members brutally murdered actress Sharon Tate, then heavily pregnant, and 4 others at her home. The following night, another couple met the same tragic fate, with cryptic messages left to mislead the police. Manson, the puppet master, never directly committed the murders himself. He preyed on his followers' vulnerabilities, twisting their minds and turning them into his instruments of terror. The investigation unraveled the web of Manson's manipulation. He was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and sentenced to death, later commuted to life in prison. Charles Manson, a chilling symbol of evil, serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of manipulation and the darkness that can lurk behind a charismatic facade. Milwaukee Cannibal, Jeffrey Dahmer, a name etched in infamy. His crimes were a horrifying blend of depravity, necrophilia, cannibalism, and the preservation of body parts as trophies. Dahmer nearly evaded capture for years. He lured his victims, primarily young men and boys, back to his apartment. There, they'd be drugged and subjected to unspeakable acts. After the killings, the horror continued. Dahmer dismembered his victims, keeping skulls, hands, and other body parts as macabre souvenirs. He even resorted to cannibalism, a chilling detail that cemented his place as a monster. Dahmer's twisted mind even led him to experiment on some victims. He drilled holes in their heads, injecting chemicals in a deranged attempt to create a living zombie. Thankfully, Dahmer's reign of terror didn't go unchecked forever. One victim, a young boy, managed to escape despite Dahmer's attempt to lobotomize him. The boy's escape led the police to Dahmer's apartment, where the true scope of his crimes was finally revealed. Dahmer was convicted of killing 15 men and boys, though he confessed to more. The true number may never be known, a chilling testament to his ability to blend in and evade suspicion. In 1991, Dahmer was finally caught and sentenced to life. However, his own life was tragically cut short when a fellow inmate beat him to death. Jeffrey Dahmer, a monster who walked among us, a grim reminder that darkness can lurk in the most unexpected places. The Night Stalker, June 1984. California shudders under a wave of terror. A series of horrific home invasions plagues the state. The perpetrator, a monster dubbed the Night Stalker, strikes under the cloak of darkness. His methods are barbaric, breaking into homes in the dead of night. He brutalizes his victims with beatings and sexual assaults. He seems driven by a twisted fascination with the occult, leaving satanic symbols as his chilling calling card. These aren't mere murders, they're displays of extreme violence and sadism. The Night Stalker revels in inflicting pain, both physical and psychological. The prolonged torture inflicted on his victims leaves no doubt he enjoys the hunt and the suffering. A massive manhunt engulfs California. Over 200 detectives work tirelessly, chasing every lead. The fear is palpable, every creak in the night a potential harbinger of doom. Then, in August 1985, a stroke of luck. The Night Stalker is recognized and apprehended by brave citizens in East Los Angeles. The reign of terror seems to be over. Richard Ramirez, the man behind the mask, is finally unmasked. But even in the courtroom, Ramirez revels in his gruesome persona. He taunts the victims' families, flashing satanic symbols at the cameras. The trial becomes a chilling spectacle. The case takes a bizarre turn when one of the jurors, Phyllis Singer, is found dead in her apartment. The cause? A lethal cocktail of alcohol and prescription drugs. Conspiracy theories run rampant. Did Ramirez somehow orchestrate her death from behind bars? Ramirez is eventually convicted of 13 murders, attempted murders, burglaries, and a trail of shattered lives. But the shadow of the Night Stalker lingers, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the human heart. Jack the Ripper, London, 1888. A killer stalks the shadows of Whitechapel, a poor and desolate district. Is named Jack the Ripper, a chilling moniker that strikes fear into every heart. Unlike other serial killers, Ripper's body count wasn't massive, but his methods were unlike anything seen before. He targeted women, most likely prostitutes, luring them with the promise of a transaction, but their payment was death. Ripper's attacks were surgical in their precision. He'd cut his victims' throats, a chilling hallmark of his crimes. Unlike today's world, saturated with news, information traveled slower in the 19th century. People relied on newspapers and whispers to learn of the Ripper's reign of terror. The newspapers fueled the public's fear. The Ripper's meticulous removal of organs, a skill reserved for the medical elite back then, painted a picture of a killer who was not just brutal, but possibly educated and wealthy. With each body, panic gripped the city. Rumors swirled, a vampire draining blood, a vengeful spirit cleansing the streets. The victims, poor women forced into a harsh life, were seen by some as deserving their fate. The authorities, overwhelmed and possibly biased, offered little protection. Despite a relentless investigation and a parade of suspects, Jack the Ripper remained a phantom. To this day, his identity remains a chilling enigma, a mystery forever etched in the annals of crime. The legend of Jack the Ripper serves as a stark reminder that even in the darkest corners, some secrets remain buried.